Hi, my name is Kim Toth, and I'm here today with the band Bloodgood, and they're going to be doing a show here at the Pottstown Davenport Auditorium, and let's start with finding out the names and hometowns of everybody in the band.
David.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Dave.
David Zafiro, and I don't have a hometown. No, Seattle, Washington.
Les Carlson, Federal Way, Washington.
Michael Bloodgood, Glendale, California.
Mark Welling, Bellevue, Washington.
Okay, so everybody basically comes from different areas, but the band's based out of Seattle?
Right.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay, what instrument does everybody play?
Guitar.
Vocalist.
Bass player.
Demon beater.
That means drummer.
Okay, so the band's been together about 3 years?
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
right?
actually, just a little over 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay, when did you get started, and how did everybody get together? Brief history?
2 years ago.
About 2 years ago. That was pretty brief. Yeah, the band actually, I got the concept for the band almost 3 years ago, but we didn't actually start the band until January of '85. And we actually started the band over a handshake and a cup of coffee at a restaurant in Seattle, downtown Seattle. We all felt so strongly about starting the band that we just decided to go for it without actually hearing each other play. And so we started rehearsing in January of '85, and we've been at it ever since, still rehearsing.
Okay, well, Michael, it says here that you've been in a lot of LA bands. You've been banging around the LA circuit for a while.
Well, yes and no. I was in high school and that sort of thing, just dance bands and that sort of thing. I've been playing in gospel bands since actually most of my career as a player has been in gospel. And I grew up in Los Angeles and then relocated to the Northwest in about '77, '78.
Okay. Les,
Yes.
you were in a Broadway musical.
Yeah, it was.
How'd you get into that?
I auditioned.
Well, which one was it?
I was in the Seattle show of Hair, and during that time there was 8 or 9 shows throughout the country. Seattle being one of them. The show moved to Miami, and I went to Miami, and then they had a national touring company, and I went on that show for 2 years. And it was
Thanks a lot. You know, I'll be sure I tell my dad, and my grandfather. You know. So it's just kind of something that, you know, it happened, and it works. It kind of grabs you, and most people don't forget it. That's one thing I always, my whole life, nobody ever forgets my last name. They turn it around a lot and call me Mr. Goodblood, but, you know, and that's important when you try to name a band. That's one of the curses of being a musician, is trying to come up with the name of a band most of the time.
What's the difference between you and a secular band, music-wise? Is there any real difference?
Night and
No,
day.
none musical, but lyrically.
Yeah.
We're the same music, you know, the ringing E chords and jumping off platforms and the same show, the same music. Thing that separates us from a band like Dio or Sabbath is we preach about life. We tell kids about life, where a lot of other messages are of death and negativeness. The negativeness we have is just that we hate Satan. So,
which is a real positive way to be.
yeah.
In a negative sense.
In a negative sort of way.
So, yeah, it's
I think
definite.
one thing that, you know, we do mainly in this band is that we want to, you know, of course, share Jesus with these people, right? But throughout history, and even the disciples, they weren't interested in the religion of the day. You know, they weren't at the synagogue. Okay, they were out fishing and stuff like that. But how come they went towards Jesus? Because there's a difference between religion and Jesus. And I think what we're trying to relate to these kids is just a real relationship with Jesus. See, religion or just religion separates you from God so much because it makes you earn your way to God, and God says that's impossible in the first place. You know, if you read throughout the Bible, you can't earn your way to God, and because of that, it puts such a barrier between man and God and the relationship there. And I think what we want to do in the band is just try to describe and portray and express in our music and our movement the crucifixion, the resurrection in Messiah. These are the songs now. I'm naming some of the songs. And the kids kind of go, wow, that was Jesus? He was really beaten up that bad, and he really rose from the dead, huh? And they think a little bit about him. Instead of this religious thing, I got to go to church this Sunday, I got to wear that clothes, I got to put on my good clothes. Why can't I wear my blue jeans? You know, stuff like that. We just try to break through all those barriers Because those are all the things that man put up, you know. Those are all the things that religion has put up. Those are barriers.
Yeah.
I don't even think God wants those things. He wants a deep relationship with the people. So we try to put that in the concert, and it's been very successful. It's been great. You know, Les really acts the part of Pilate. Crucify I'm talking about the song Crucify now. It starts, and he comes out as Pilate. You know, and he starts talking to these people about this Messiah. You know, their Messiah. Now you want him to be crucified? Why? You know, I say set him free, but you say crucify. Why? You know, and then right after that, he throws off the robe, and Les becomes Jesus, and he gets beat by the Roman soldiers, and he's just thrown down and kicked, and it's just an intense concert. And right after that, we go into Messiah, where Jesus raises from the dead, and Les shares a little bit about what had just happened. And these kids, you know, most metal shows, they're all, yeah, this is it. You know, they're just rock. But when these songs start, they kind of, their hands drop and they go, what's going on here? You know, something's
a normal
happening.
concert, isn't it?
And the wonderful thing is, it's not the power of the theatrics, really. I mean, even though those are done as professional as we can do them, it really, truly is the truth. And the truth will set you free. And so just the pure gospel coming from a metal band is really palatable to the kids. And when anyone hears the truth, if they'll stop long enough to listen, they're amazed by it, and they're drawn to it.
See, unfortunately, the aspect of Christian music has always been this really light, happy, nice, major seventh chord progressions. That's one aspect of Jesus Christ. That's the aspect where he's saying to the harlot, okay, I don't condemn you either. But there's also the aspect where Jesus went in the temple and turned over all the tables, grabbed the whip, and started to say, my Father's house shall be a house of prayer. You know, I mean, and heavy metal is such a powerful music. Now, it has been perverted by Satan and by man, but that, I don't believe that. I mean, let's break it down to really what it is. It's a distorted signal. It's a 1/5 interval of a chord. It's a powerful expression, and that's also an aspect of God that has been overlooked. And see, and it's so powerful. It works so well as far as an evangelistic tool. Because these kids they're all into power, and they see, oh, God's powerful.
God's the real power.
Yeah. And really, bands that aren't Christian, they're preaching their own religion as well. You know, if you come out with a bottle of Jack Daniels and talk about, you know, adulteration and stuff, that you're just preaching an immoral gospel, but it's a gospel nonetheless. Just because it doesn't name a deity or talk about Jesus or have a stained glass window, people say, well, you know, how come you're cramming religion down our throats? Well, I'm not. You know, no more than somebody walking out with a bottle of Jack Daniels and talking about smoking in the boys' room is talking about his religion. Yeah. You know, and they're all statements, and I think all statements need to be heard. Yeah. And we have a free country, and I think
we
God
all have to
blesses
serve
us
some
with it.
God, don't we?
Yeah.
Basically, we just want to tell people about Jesus Christ, that he really was here, that he claimed to be God in the flesh, that he died and was risen from the grave. And he fulfilled prophecy that was written in the Bible way before he even came to earth. And that's factual. That's history. That's not something that we're just using to, you know, to be a rock band. We believe that. And the audience knows that we believe it by our love for each other and our love for them. And when they feel that, it's real. And they respond to it the way that any